Let's talk about playing acoustic guitar. I love playing acoustic guitar, and I wish I could play more of it sometimes. It's such a great instrument because it's not just melodic, it's rhythmic, it's percussive, it's all of that, and it can, when mastered properly, I guess it could be almost like a one-man band, really. But I just want to talk just a few minutes about playing acoustic, and I guess playing acoustic in church. I guess there's so much we could talk about, but I'll hit the basics and I guess the things that are most important. There are a lot of players out there that are great at blistering, on the guitar, that can shred away and play great on electric. But then playing acoustic, I think, is a different beast. It's a very it's an intimate and exposed instrument, and I think there's an art to playing it well. I'm not saying that I'm the guy to teach you that, but I'm just going to show you what I think is important to me. So the thing with acoustic, because it's so rhythmic and percussive, it's important to develop a great right-hand technique, okay? Now, I think it's so important to practice to a metronome. Like I started with those old school ones with the little slider that you move, and it's just those ones. But your right hand, if you're a right-handed guitarist like myself, needs to be treated like a metronome. So if you're playing a certain rhythm on guitar, like if it's a basic rhythm like a... Okay, so once my right hand starts, like a metronome starts, it's just an even, okay? And then this right hand needs to be like that. Once your right hand starts, it needs to be a constant rhythm. So if I have a rhythm in my head that sounds like, I don't play it like, okay, that's very, it's just not musical, and it's actually quite difficult to do that. I think that the best thing to do is, once your right hand starts, think of it as an even up and down, up and down, up and down, and it doesn't stop, okay? So it's essentially you're doing that, okay? But you're hitting the strings in, at the time that you want it to create the rhythm that you want, okay? But the momentum stays there, okay, with the up and down. So if I'm just doing that, and if I want to change the rhythm, I played a few different rhythms there, but you might notice is that my right hand, like a metronome, once it starts, it doesn't stop. I'm not playing. Straight away you'll realize how out of time and how difficult it is to stay on point with what the drums are doing or where the tempo sits. So I think that's one of the 101s, if you like, of playing acoustic. Just have a very steady right hand. If you're right-handed, have a steady, treat it like a metronome. Once it starts, it's just even the whole time. And I think feel is really important on acoustic, okay? Because because it's so percussive, it can, in a band setting, it'll tend to stick out. You'll often hear the top parts. You might not hear the whole chord, but you hear the top strings, and those top strings cut through as much as what a hi-hat does on a drum, So you want to make sure that you're playing in time. So it's really important to, like I said, practice to a metronome and practice hearing yourself where you sit on the beat. So I have a metronome on my phone that I prepared earlier. Here we go. This is at 80 BPM here, okay? Practice, I'm just gonna put that there. So practice like. Playing a few different rhythms. Practice that. Now, I talked earlier about scales. When you practice your scales, any sort of practice you do on the guitar, practice to a metronome. But what I'm talking about here is how your feel, if you like. You know, how do you sit on beat? So practice sitting on beat like this. Or what it's like to sit ahead of the beat. It's probably an over-exaggerated example, but what I'm saying is that if you might think you're playing great without a metronome, but when you lock yourself into a metronome, you'll be able to see where you sit on the beat. And if you're playing too ahead of the beat, it feels uncomfortable. You might be rushing the drums, you might be rushing the band, and it tends to put everything a little off kilter. Practice sitting behind the beat, okay? Like. So I don't know if you can hear the difference of how it sits on the beat or behind the beat or in front of the beat, but I think that's really important to develop your internal metronome, feel the rhythm inside you, and just get a feel for make sure your right hand knows how to lock into whether it's the drums or a click track that you're playing to. Just a couple more things on acoustic. Like acoustic sounds great when it's played in an open style, you know. Okay, so here I'm using a capo, and I'm using the G shape here, you know. The G shapes are great for acoustic, you know. Jesus lives in me, and he lives in G. So what I tend to do is depending on what key of the song is, I will look for the best way to play it with an open style. So if a song's in C, I might play it like. Quite nice playing open like that, or I'll hit a capo, put on the 5th fret and play it in the G shape. It sounds nice. I guess what you don't want to do, it's not necessarily a rule of thumb really, but if a song's in B, you can play it in B. You can play it like. Nothing wrong with that, but you probably notice the guitar sounds probably a little bit more choked, a little bit more stifled in the sound, not as open. I always look for ways that I could play the chords open. So, you know, instead of playing a C sharp minor like that, I might open it up. The G sharp minor, like that. The E open, the F sharp. There's still an open B ringing out there. Or the other option is just put the capo on the 4th fret and play. There's a lot of open strings ringing there, and it just sounds nicer. And it's probably easier to play as well. So that's my general approach to playing, to strumming and having an open sound. And finger picking as well is great. Like I mentioned before, that guitar is melodic, it's rhythmic, it's percussive, it's all those sort of things. And I think it comes back to, again, knowing knowing your scales and knowing your theory behind what you're playing, which can make it a little bit more interesting when you pick. But again, when you pick, this is your metronome. This is your right-hand metronome, okay? Keep whatever you do consistent. Keep it the same. Try to create patterns, whatever pattern, fingerstyle pattern you want to play. Keep it even, okay? So if I'm just using my hands, simplify it. Or busy it up. Cool. Well, I mean, look, I've touched on a lot of stuff here, hopefully I've given you a lot of little nuggets here, like when it comes to playing rhythm, finger picking style, all that sort of stuff. But I guess the important thing with the acoustic is knowing its role in the band. And an acoustic, like I said, it's rhythmic, it's percussive, it's melodic. But when you sit it in a band, it has the potential to create a lot of energy. You know, if you're an acoustic player or you're a worship leader, you really have the power to dictate where the music is going, because you can create a lot of energy just from this instrument. You can play it obviously very delicately, or hit it hard, and have the ability to dictate the dynamics of the band situation that you find yourself in. And you have the ability to create moments as well, like little, like I played Turn Your Eyes on Jesus before, and I played the melody with the rhythm. You know, you have the ability to really speak a lot through this instrument. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining me in this masterclass. And with everything that I've shared, hopefully you've learned something new today. Keep practicing, and with everything you do, remember to have fun.